Doomasect, also known as Ramblin' Gamer, coming at you guys today with our first Eviolite video. Our first candidate for the Eviolite is Ivysaur. Now, even though Ivysaur is our first candidate for the Eviolite, it is a piss poor one at that. On paper, grass poison doesn't seem all that bad. Being weak to fire, flying, psychic, and ice types, while resisting fairy, electric, water, and fighting types, and having a double resistance to grass, yes, on paper it looks good. But then you run into other problems, like just how common ice type moves are. With water Pokemon being able to easily learn Ice Beam, this is going to mess up a slow grass type. Ice, fire, psychic, and flying are probably four of the most common and heavy hitting attack types out there, and maybe with the exception of ice, the vast majority of those types are going to outspeed an Ivysaur. Ivysaur's base stats are as follows: 60 to HP, 62 to attack, 63 to defense, 80 to special defense, 80 to special attack, and 60 to speed. This gives our Ivysaur a base stat total of 405. With the Eviolite, that 63 defense turns into 94.5. And we all of a sudden now have 120 special defense. Combined with 80 special attack, we now have a pretty bulky grass type that can deal out some good damage. To give you guys some idea of what an Eviolite Ivysaur can do, it has the same special defense as a Mega Venusaur, although without the thick fat ability, but we'll get on to that in a bit. Defense on the other hand isn't as great, but it's not horrible. Let's just say it has 95 instead of 94.5. This roughly gives Ivysaur about the same defense as a Serperior. However, there are about 15 other grass types that have a bulkier defense than an Eviolite Ivysaur. Do remember though that the Eviolite Ivysaur has some good features to it. One is that 80 special. While not great, it is still very usable. The day I bitch about a Pokemon that has 80 in its offensive stat while having 95 and 120 in its defensive stats is likely never to come. Unfortunately, Ivysaur's main weakness comes from its HP, speed, and horrible typing. Interestingly, Ivysaur is the only candidate for the Eviolite from the original starters that I've found worthwhile. Charmeleon has good offensive stats, but its defensive stats wouldn't gain enough from the Eviolite to really do anything. Wartortle, on the other hand, is the exact opposite, having great defensive stats, but not so great offensive stats. Now we come to the biggest con for an Eviolite Ivysaur, Mega Venusaur. An Eviolite Ivysaur is actually tankier than what a Venusaur is, while at the sacrifice of some speed and damage, but against a Mega Venusaur, an Eviolite Ivysaur doesn't hold a candle. Yes, they both do share the same base special defense, but Mega Venusaur has over 40 more base stat points in its special attack alone, and nearly 30 more in its defense. Also, considering Mega Venusaur's ability Thick Fat reduces its number of weaknesses from 4 to 2, this essentially throws Ivysaur into the category of a novelty Eviolite user. This means if you prefer Ivysaur over Venusaur, or you just like screwing around with people, this is a good reason to consider Ivysaur a candidate for the Eviolite. Anyway guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoy this kind of stuff, I will be making a new Eviolite video every week, so please subscribe, and until next time, watch out for bears.